Hi, my name is Merhawi. I'm a senior at UNH, majoring in journalism. I love UNH during the fall. The trees are beautiful and the weather is nice and warm, and I just love walking to classes. But my life hasn't always been like this. I am originally from Mekelle, Ethiopia.
Mekelle is the capital city of the Tigray region, located in the northern part of Ethiopia. It is a home for nearly 300,000 people. Mekelle played a huge role in the Ethiopia and Eritrea War in 1998. And as a result of the war, many children were displaced and became homeless. After living in the US for 8 years, I had the opportunity to come back to my hometown Mekelle in 2011. I was very excited. I was also blown away at how much things have changed since I left. One of the things I used to do as a child was shoe shining. I walked around the city asking people to clean their shoes, just like this kid is doing right now to make money. I did that for a living. I also used to sell scratch lottery tickets by walking around the city and going to every cafe, juice place, hotel, restaurants, and so on. However, there was one thing that I noticed that didn't change or saw a little progress was the plight of street children. I wondered why the problem still continues, and I asked myself what I should do about it. And the answer was education. Through the UNH Hamel undergraduate research program, I had the opportunity to come back to Mekelle to do a journalistic research with a goal to document the plight of street children and to find some answers why the problem with street children still continues. War, extreme poverty, divorce, and child abuse have caused many children to leave their homes and live on the streets of Mekelle city. The street children are not easy to approach. A friend of mine named Atzbaha, who has a good relationship with the children, introduced me to them. Through my friend Atzbaha, I met a group of 8 street children from the ages of 11 to 16. Most of the children had left home because their parents had been divorced when they were really young. As a result, they were unable to receive proper support and treatment from their broken families. I took them out to get some lunch. The lunch went well. We had a normal conversation and talked about football. They were very happy and grateful I took them out. Then, with their permission, they were willing to share their stories with me. Still though, it was extremely difficult for them to really open up. I sat down with one of the street kids named Samara to talk about street life.
Samara, kam tayo hamil ka?
Adigra.
Abo ka na kanyo mo?
Abu da wani ne Abu da wani ginta Fatihmu.
Hindi ka armuta.
Ay ni to asot.
Ay ka.
نوعنا قفعا
Kaya ka.
ودخل يقولنا لا قوة لله مو كم سدوا على ودي ولد كذا أو زغفت بلي قالنا لا وعنا حصة.
Ka abu tayo ka. Na mo tayo ka.
من ما يصير يسأل.
Wala. Pag hindi ang hirap na nakatulog.
قلت عمت.
Tanda ba ka na? Ari na hindi ka na pala.
عمتي قال. بزعما برانا داخل تري لغاي مشيت تدقسنا ملشا بلاويس قال ما تمثل زعنا صقور قال لا عاخلو متفلنا شلنا قال امعنا انا نالك صاتنا.
I asked Mekelle what the major causes of street children are, and he said,
well, the major cause is poverty. Poverty means a lot. The family cannot feed their children. The average family size in Tigray is between 4 and 5. 40% of our population do not feed their family the whole year. They can only feed half of the year. So there is always deficit of food. The war is also another major cause because the breadwinners die or are wounded or they are displaced. So the last victim are children again.
On one beautiful day, I took a walk to the bus station center called Merhawi. I heard from some people that there are a lot of street children who hang out by the bus station, so I went there hoping to find some. Surprisingly, I found quite a few of them. The children were not that open to tell me everything about their lives, but they did tell me some have families and want to be reunited someday. However, their parents are still extremely poor and couldn't take care of them properly in the first place. There is no hope for them to go back. They would rather struggle for survival on the streets. I also asked Ato Kasai Gebrekidan about children reunification, and he said,
أبجزا ولدي أتوقع من مزحزون عبدي أخي دوجن زي أنا صايع كمت الله يزعل عند الله زقات أطور يقولون فلاي تلميدوا أبجزا خيدوس أمسيخا وعلكا مسمن وعلكا جلس لزبلوا بكان سايز مرت قن معاك خنزلوا كنا وصل مسألة وديو بتكسو.
Well, if the people are poor, the government is also poor by implication, because if you have rich people, you have a rich government. If you have a poor people, they cannot pay tax. The government cannot generate revenue. In a poor country like Ethiopia, the government cannot have adequate resource for children.
On one particular night, I went out to the city with the hope to find other street children besides the ones that I already met. Surprisingly, I found many street children scattered all over the city. I saw some sleeping on the veranda, barefooted and poorly clothed and curled up on top of each other like dead bodies. Some of them sat in groups, their legs against their chests in order to avoid the bitter cold. They sat nearby the bars where countless drunk people walked by them, hoping some would give them money out of pity. The other street children I met were in a district called Mekelle 16. It was 3 a.m. and these kids were quite awake, and a couple of them were sitting watching their friends playing karate with each other for fun. One of the boys was from a small town called Adigudom outside of Mekelle city. He ran away from home because his stepmother abused him emotionally and physically. According to the boy, his biological parents got divorced when he was really young, and since then the father had been living with his new wife. One day the father gave him 100 birr to his son to buy some clothes. He went shopping and bought some clothes, and when he returned home, the stepmother, being furious at the boy's action, burned all his new clothes. Then she tied his hands behind his back and brought him close to a fire where she roasted hot chili peppers and made him inhale the fumes until he almost choked to death. As the boy struggled and staggered like a blind man to go outside to get some fresh air, she pushed him into the fire where he severely burned his lower back. Terrorized and shocked, the boy ran away to Mek'ele city the next day. I asked him if he would ever go back to the house and reconcile with the stepmother. He said with a sad and resentful tone, "I will never go back there. I would rather stay here and live my life and find a job." My next journey was to visit the local orphanages that are available to support the street children. The first one I went to was called Daughters of Charity. Daughters of Charity is a Catholic institution established almost 2 decades ago to look after poor and vulnerable children. Most of the support comes from Europe. Nugus tells me that they support children from the age of 12 to 18 years old. Most of the kids at the institution were street children, with some full and half orphans who were under difficult situations.
ኣብዚ ዝሕግዝ ብዋናነት ናይ ጎደና ተመሓደርቲ ህፃናት እዩ ዝሕግዝ ካብኡ ብተወሳኺ እውን ኣብ ፀገም ዝርከቡ ህፃናት ንጎደና ክወፁ ዝተቃረቡ ግን ከይወፁ ንምክልኻል ዝግበር ስራሕ እዩ ምስ ወላዲኦም ስኢኖም ምስ ኣሕዋቶም ዝነብሩ ቆልዑ ምስ ኣዴታት ዝመርሕኦ ስድራ ዝነብሩ ምስ HIV ዝተጠቕዑ ወለዲ ዝነብሩ ህፃናት ትኩረት ገይሩ ይሰርሕ ኣብኡ ብጣዕሚ ሕማቕ ህይወት የግኒ ብጣዕሚ ሕማቕ ከልባል
Zaneba, a 16-year-old boy who was a former street child, he tells me his life on the streets was very rough. Big kids used to beat him up, asking him to get them money. He used to get sick from the cold weather, as well as the partially eaten food he ate, which was leftover food from the local restaurant. He tells me he is very happy because Daughters of Charity is fulfilling his needs, especially with his education. My next journey was to an institution called Operation Rescue of Ethiopia. It is a private NGO founded by 2 missionary couples from Brazil and Switzerland in 2001 to help children from infancy to the age of 12. Getachew tells me Operation Rescue was established for the purpose of helping needy children such as street children and orphan children whose parents have died from war and HIV/AIDS, and also children who have extremely poor families are supported as well.
دفتر بيرو كل نجار حكمنا وكانت زمان كل بجلس حملنا حكمنا أو كرشني نايم دفترني نايم أو حكمنا.
Next, I went to a private orphanage called Human Beings Association of Brotherhood. Ato Fukra Asefa established the orphanage in 2002 with his own pocket money and with little help of his friends. He started his orphanage with 5 street children, but now it has grown to 70 children. I asked him why he decided to help the street children. He said he wants to give a chance to the street children at least to go to school. The orphanage supports the street children, full and half orphans, and also children who have extremely poor families with almost no income. Education is a priority and the children are encouraged to do well academically, but for those who are poor academically, they are offered the chance to go to a vocational training school. Itsana is a 15-year-old girl who had lost both her parents when she was really young. She used to live with and work for a lady in order to afford to go to school, but she felt oppressed most of the time. She didn't have a voice at the house. She missed classes because she had to do too much domestic work. Also, the lady she was staying with had big boys and sometimes they sexually assaulted her. Because Itsana was a recognized student, her teachers asked her why she was missing classes. Then when she shared her story with them, they were able to help her and put her in Fikra's orphanage so she could focus on her school. She is happy now. She feels free, and her advice for girls who are going through what she went through is to speak up. Last but not least, I went to a daycare called Human to Human Aid Program. A man named Tedros Asalu founded the daycare in 2004 with his own money and with little help of his friends. Tedros felt it was unfair for the street children to suffer on the streets and to be abandoned by a society. He had a vision to lift up street children and send them back to school and also to reunite some of them with their families.
ብቻስ ብዝተፈላለዩ ምክንያት ኣብ ጎደና ዘለዉ ህፃናት ካብ ጎደና መልዓሊ ነው ዋና ዓላማ።
The program suffers from lack of funds, so Tedros had decided to keep his program as a temporary safe haven for the street children until they become independent. What do you think the solution is?
The solution is the economy must grow. The government must have appropriate strategy to help the poorest of the poor, the children. It has to mobilize resource from the public. The public must support children, and the international community must also give attention to this.
ትምህርት ምዝገብና ክዳን ቢሮ ገለገለ ሓገዝ ስብታት ለየለና በቃ ትምህርት ማር ቀጥታ ማር ይደላል።
I hope this short documentary film has given you an insight of what's happening to street children in Mekelle, Ethiopia. And I believe the answer to all this issue or problem is education. Because education has given me an opportunity to go back to my hometown Mekelle and hand on a microphone to the street children and speak so that their voices can be heard. And I encourage every young man and woman who are pursuing higher education to make a difference in their own communities first before they make a difference in the world. Thank you very much, and thank you for watching.
Some people hate while others kill. Where is the faith? Bubble and be still. Plant what you eat what you plant. A caring family, that's all they want. What can you do to end the situation? The little you do make a difference to the nation. This day and hate, nobody cares for the children suffering out there. To help the poor, are you willing? Something more stop all the killing.